What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's day, I don't know how many days it's been, of me trying to get my channel taken off YouTube by just the sheer outrageousness of one of these videos. So we're going to see if this is the one, but if not, I hope you enjoy. We're going through the best races in the UFC, and I'm not talking about car races. I'm not doing what's up, guys? We're ranking the best races. Number one, the F1 19, I ain't doing none of that bullshit. We're doing for real the best races in the UFC. I've got the bottom tier being complete failure, and then I've got the top tier being best race. You could hazard a guess what that might be. If you can't, then you don't know the channel very well. But we're going to get into it. We've got a bunch of different races. Look, I'll be honest, you can comment and say, oh, this is actually not a race, it's an ethnicity, or shut the fuck up, I don't care. I'm putting what I want, and you guys can fucking deal with it. So yeah, let's get into it. And the first race or group is Brazilians. And look, in the wise words of Chael Sonnen, Brazil is not an ethnicity or a race, it's a nationality. So fair play, I know, Chael Sonnen, you're correct, but again, I'm breaking the rules of my own video, and this is sort of like an ethnicity cross with race, cross with nationality, all that kind of thing, all jumbled into one. So yeah, Brazilians, they're gonna go in the widely successful tier. Brazilians have been very successful in the UFC. They've had a bunch of champions. Obviously, right now, we're looking at Alex Pereira and Alessandro Pantoja as champions. But they've got a bunch of top contenders like Charles Oliveira. We've got the takedown spammer himself, Gelton Almeida. There's just a whole bunch. Diego Lopez, the Chad. There's so many more. Gilbert Burns. We know Costa. All this. Johnny Walker. There's so many Brazilians. Figueiredo, etc., etc., Jose Aldo coming back. There's so many Brazilians in the sport right now, and that is why they're going to go right at the top, because they've both got two checklists. They've got current champions, they've had a bunch of former champions, and they've got current number one contenders, current top fighters. They are just, Brazilians are just a big presence in the sport, and it wouldn't be the same without them, so they are going to go in the widely successful tier. But let's move on to the next group. Next group that we have is the Frenchies. Again, it's a nationality, it's not a race or an ethnicity, whatever, but I don't care. I just wanted to name it race tier list because it's more funny, and it's going to be more outrageous and just what the fuck is this guy doing with his channel? So that's kind of why I did race. If I just did ranking the countries in the UFC, it wouldn't be as, iffy, but if I'm doing ranking races in the UFC combined with this absolute extraordinary thumbnail that I have on display, yeah, it's getting my channel taken down. So, back on topic, I'm going to put the French people in top fighters. So I might be overdoing it a little bit. Maybe if you wanted to have them down a tier, I would accept it. Obviously, they've got Cyril Gane, who's the number 2 ranked heavyweight. They've got Manan Fiorot, who is fighting in a number 1 contender fight this weekend. They've got Bernard Saint-Denis, who just lost to Poirier, but is still a top guy in the division. They've got Nassourdine Imavov, who, while ethnically is not French, he fights out of France and he's trained out of France. And, the rest are nobodies. So France, they've got 4 top guys. They've got a former interim title holder, but apart from that, they've got just some top contenders. So I'm going to put them in there. Maybe if you want to put them lower, because I do have nationalities or countries or races, whatever, that do have current or former champions in the tier below. So if you guys want to criticize me for that, fair play. But in terms of a country, for a very small sample size, there's just not a whole lot of French fighters. They've got 4 top 10 or top 15 ranked guys or girls, so fair play to them, I'll give them credit. But let's move on to the next group. The next group that we have here is the Chinese people, and obviously excluding Adesanya, I'm not going to count him. I'm actually not even going to include him in any of the groups featured on this list, just because, that man's an absolute mess. He's representing too many, so I can't nail him down to one. But I'm going to put Chinese people as a whole in the not enough top fighters category, because look, in my opinion, they've got Zhang Weili a champion. She's then fighting the number 1 strawweight, Yan Jianan, who's the only other top Chinese female fighter, and then they've got one other ranked guy in Song Yadong who just lost to Peter Yan. So they've got 3 top ranked fighters, including 1 champion. They've got a bunch of fighters outside the rankings, but they're just not all that good. So yeah, they just don't have enough of a presence outside pretty much women's strawweight, apart from Song Yadong, and then they're women's strawweight fighters. They just don't have enough going on for me to put them any higher. But let's move on to another group. And we've got Indians. Yeah, complete failure. Oh, I do have a team, sir. Fucking Anshul Jubilee, lad. I tell you what, sir, I'm a very good fighter. India, very good promise for MMA. We got a lot of fighters. Yeah, sorry, Jubilee, bro. You got finished by Mike Breeden. That's tough. And you're the only Indian fighter signed to the roster. It's raps for your whole fucking country. You just don't have any MMA skill. I actually went to Thailand to train Muay Thai last year. Fun fact, I'm basically elite at striking. And yeah, there was this guy at the gym I went to. I'm not going to name the gym or name the guy or whatever, but there was a guy at the gym I went to, and he was this Indian dude, and he said him and his brother were there, and they were both kickboxing national champions from India. I've trained like 2 years of Muay Thai, and I was like quite comfortable. Like, I felt like fucking Max Holloway against Kelvin Cater in that bitch, so I was fucking that man up. I wasn't even trying to. Like, anytime I just threw a punch, it's like he subconsciously just moved into the punch. Like, and these two were kickboxing national champions in India. That's kickboxing. MMA, arguably worse. Anshul Jubilee's your representative. It's raps for your whole nation. Let's move on to another country. And we are going with the Englishmen. Yeah, you know, I think we're a good country. Lot of good fighters. I'll tell you fucking what, lad. Fucking England, mate. We've got a fucking heap of fighters, and I'm the fucking top of the heap, mate. I'm fucking going for the belt in the lightweight division. Like, England, fuck, I forgot to put Ireland. I just realised on this list. My bad. If you want to jumble Ireland in with England, you know, we know the situation there, the history, background, all that. So if you want to just, you know, merge those two in together, because I did forget Ireland. Yeah, fucking fair of a thing, yeah. How do you forget fucking Ireland and notorious Conor McGregor? It's from a great nation. And obviously Ian the Cuck Gary. But yeah, sorry, my apologies. Ireland, I'm gonna put, if I was putting them in here, I would go like one lower. I would go not enough top fighters, because they've had Conor and they had Ian Gary, and apart from that, they've got fucking Callan Loughran. So off topic, but Ireland is going in not enough top fighters, but I forgot to put them on the list. But England is obviously going to go in widely successful. They've got 2 current champions, if you're counting Tom Aspinall as the interim champion, which I do, because John Jones, basically, his heavyweight title is a paper belt at this point. It's fraudulent. It's fraudulent like a bank check. Trust. But Tom Aspinall, I consider him the heavyweight champ. Leon Edwards, obviously the undisputed welterweight champion. But apart from that, you know, they've got guys like MVP in the scene. They've got Arnold Allen. They've got Darren Till, Toba fucking ACL. They've got Till. They've got Paddy. They've got Lerone Murphy, Nathaniel Wood, Mick Parkin, the GOAT. Muhammad Makayev is not English, let's be honest. But yeah, they've got a bunch of great fighters. So England, widely successful. Michael Bisping, obviously, as a champion in history. They've had good fighters throughout history. Great fighters now. England is looking positive. And obviously, I'm putting Ireland in not enough top fighters. But let's move on to another group. And we're going with the Mexicans, or the Latino fighters / Latina fighters, you know. Montserrat Rendon, what's up? Some very nice technique on display, let's just leave it at that. But in terms of the other fighters on there, obviously you're looking at Brandon Moreno, Yair Rodriguez, and Alexa Grasso are their top 3 right now. Obviously you've got Meep, Raul Rosas Jr., you've got a bunch of other, like, just outside the rankings, exciting fighters. They're one of the most exciting fighters to watch in terms of their, like, as a nationality. But if you're looking at Latino as a whole, or like Latin America, I guess you can go with like Chito Vera, stuff like that. You can go with fucking Rebelos de Spain. If you're looking back pre-today, you can go with like Romero, that kind of thing. Martinez, Gutierrez, that kind of thing. And obviously, if you're looking all the way back in the day, if you're counting the former Mexicans or the Mexican Americans, you can go with like Cruz and Velasquez and Cejudo and all those guys, are Gastelum and shit. But they don't fight out of Mexico. So in terms of guys fighting out of Mexico and girls, they've got 3 right now. Former flyweight champion, former featherweight interim champion, and then current women's flyweight champion. They're a very good, they are a very good fighting nation. So obviously they're going in top fighters, of course. Yeah, Mexico, it's looking up. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I suppose, man, someday we will be in widely successful team, man. I can't keep my voice high-pitched for that long. That probably sounded retarded. But yeah, great stuff, Mexico. Good stuff, lads. But just keep those green cards handy. Let's move on to the next people. We've got the South Africans, or like I guess you could put white Africans. in the movie. What is it, Mean Girls? It's like, if you're from Africa, why are you white? Like, that's that. I love that meme. It's fucking always about Drickus and shit. And Cameron Simon. But yeah, they've got the middleweight champion, so fair play. You have a champion, so you got to be on the list. But apart from that, Cameron Simon, a Peyton Talbot victim. That's rough. And the rest are nobodies. Actually, there is no rest. Like, there's just no one else from South Africa. So yeah, Drickus du Plessis holding down the fort for the South Africans. And yeah, obviously they're going to go and not enough top fighters. There's just not a big enough sample size to judge them. They've got one champion, one unranked bantamweight, and that's it. So let's move on to the next people. We've got the Canadians. They are, of course, going in complete failure. Obviously, GSP, the Chad himself, he was Canada's champion, and I think they had another guy who I forget because it's irrelevant. But right now, we're looking at the video. I should have titled the video, best races in the video, or whatever. I might title it that. I might change it. But regardless, right now, Canada, MMA, Canada can't speak. I'm fucking Down syndrome. Canadian MMA is in the bin. Mike Malott is their best hope of a ranked fighter, not even a champion or a top 5 guy, a ranked fighter, and he lost to Neil Magny because he gassed out like a bitch because his diet of maple syrup and soy and estrogen consumption just could not let him hold up against an absolute Haitian Chad like Neil Magny. So yeah, Canada, they're in the bin. Charles Jourdain, Brad Katona, fucking who else? Like, they're in the bin. It's wraps. Let's move on to another group, and we have the Polish people, or as I could say in a little subtle way, the enemies of the man shown in the middle of the thumbnail. Let's just go with that. Of course, the Mateusz Gamrots of the world and the Jan Blachowicz of the world. There's that certain man with a mustache that starts with A and ends in Hitler. And yeah, he doesn't like those people. But regardless, the Polish people are actually doing well for themselves. All it took was a couple train rides to get to their different camps, fighting camps or, other types of camps. And they started to do really well in MMA. They've got, obviously, Jan Blachowicz, former champion, top contender, Mateusz Gamrot, number 5 ranked lightweight, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, former strawweight champion, Mateusz Rebecki, up-and-comer. They've got a couple other fighters in there. I'm probably forgetting a few, but the most notable ones, they do actually have some good representatives at the top of the sport, mostly with Blachowicz and, Gamrot. But, yeah, good stuff, Poland. Keep those camps going, if you know what I'm saying. But let's move on to another fighter, or group of fighters. And we have the white Australians, obviously top tier. If we're doing a colonisation tier lists, they're up there, obviously, of British descent or of European descent. But yeah, we're going with white Australians as our next group, and they are going to go in widely successful. Obviously, Volkanovski, arguably the featherweight GOAT, number 1 ranked featherweight, just lost his belt, of course. But never worry, we've got Steve Erceg, an absolute Chad and peak male athleticism and just the physique that all men dream of. He's fighting for the belt in a couple months' time. We've got Bobby Knox, Robert Whittaker, top-ranked middleweight. I'm just not going to mention Taito Ivasa because he doesn't quite fit the bill, not that colonial type. But apart from that, we've got some other random fucks like Jamie Malarkey, Jake Matthews, Jack Jenkins, these kind of guys. But yeah, we've got and Jack Della Maddalena, sorry, forgot him. My bad, Jack Della, who's grabbing the cash and he's going to dash, as he'll tell you, with his extreme charisma on the mic. But yeah, so we've got number 4, number 5 ranked welterweight, number 3 ranked middleweight, number 1 ranked featherweight, and number 10 ranked flyweight, but fighting for a belt. So yeah, Australia doing great, good stuff, colonisation. Let's move on to another group. I'm going to put the Spanish people in not enough top fighters. Obviously, Ilia Topuria, not of Spanish descent, but he's fighting out of Spain. So that's kind of what I'm going with here, I guess. But yeah, Ilia Topuria, champion. Again, similar situation to South Africa. They've got a champion and they've got not a whole lot. Like, they've got Joel Alvarez, unranked lightweight, solid, like, kind of perennial top 25, top 20 guy. Fighting Mateusz Rebecki in a couple weeks' time. Great fight that I'm looking forward to. But apart from Ilia Topuria and Joel Alvarez, they've got Chris Barnett, I believe, is of Spanish, like, represents Spain, I think. Don't quote me on that. And yeah, I don't know who else. They've got some other random dude. But yeah, let's move on to another group. And we've got the Arabs, or the Arabs. As Leon Edwards would say, are you Arab? So yeah, I'm going to put the Middle Eastern folk in not enough top fighters, because they do have Bilal, remember the Plains Muhammad, of course. I'm going to keep saying that joke until the end of time. It's never going to become not funny. They've also got Amir Al-Bazi, the Rat. I'm not saying that in terms of a looks or nationality way. That's just, fighting style, of course, purely. And who else do they have? They have Kushain Ashkabov, well-known terrorist. That's not even racial. Like, that's factually correct. Like, he's literally basically been charged with terrorism. Like, not quite, but along those lines. Who else do we have there? They've got, I'm forgetting someone. I know, for sure, but I don't care. Anyway, they're irrelevant. I cannot remember their names, much like with Bilal. But let's move on to another group. We've got the Blacks. Sounds so retarded to say. The Africans. Doesn't sound much better. Like, the people... I'm splitting Africans and African Americans into two different groups. I'm not even going to go into explanations there, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Kamaru Usman, Francis Ngannou, Kennedy Nzechukwu. Who else? Who else are we looking at? What's his name? Fucking Themba Gorimbo. Like, that's who I'm talking about. Not the people like the John Joneses or the Curtis Blades of the world that, were transported via boats. That's what I'm going to go with here. I'm going to talk about the people that are very close ancestry-wise to Africa. I don't know. I'm struggling to say this in a way. I'm talking about the people that weren't fucking shipped over as slaves. That's who I'm fucking talking about. Usman, and I said it. There you fucking go. You happy now? It's like with Kanye. It's like they asked him. It's just like, he's like, I'm not gonna say what type of doctor. It was a Jewish doctor. Like, he just fumbled. Like, he folded under no pressure. That's what I've just done. But yeah, Usman, Ngannou, if you want to put Adesanya in there, does he represent Nigeria? I'm not sure, but if you want to put him in there, sure. I know these guys don't train out of Africa. Only Dricus does that, the Drew Chad. So I'm being a bit inconsistent here because I'm talking about some people in terms of training out of countries, some not. Whatever, I don't care. Shut up. Yeah, these guys, they're gonna go in. What tier did I put them in? I can't even read. They're gonna go on top fighters, of course. They've had 3 former champions. Top contenders right now. Ngannou obviously skedaddled. He dipped and got KO'd by Joshua. But apart from that, yeah, Africans, in terms of, these ones, they're going to go on top fighters. Let's move on to another group swiftly. All right, we've got the New Zealanders, the Kiwis. I'm talking about Dan Hooker. I'm talking about Kai Kara France. I'm talking about, I guess, Carlos Olberg. You can dump the Polynesians in here too, because I'm not doing another one for there. If you really wanted to split it up, if you wanted to do the white New Zealanders and then the less white ones, the Islanders, you can do that if you want. But I'm just going to chuck them in together. You can put the Tafa Bros in there, I guess. I don't even know what they are. You can put Olberg. You can put fucking Mark Hunt if you really need to. Don't even make it New Zealand. Just put like Polynesia, islands, fucking other Oceania countries, all that. They're going to go in top fighters, I think, is where I'm going to put them in. Or not enough top fighters, but I'll probably move them later on. But yeah, good stuff for them. Let's move on. And we are going to go with the Dagestani/Caucasus area. So again, I don't care about your fucking Armenia, about your fucking Azerbaijan, about your Georgia. I don't care. I'm lumping them all in together. They're all the same. I don't give a fuck. They all fight like weasels. They all shoot takedowns. You shoot for the legs for dear life. Apart from like Fazeev and stuff, he's cool. But some of them are different. But yeah, whatever. I don't care. Geographically wise, they're the same fucking spot. They're basically the same. They look similar. They act similar. They talk similar. They're basically similar. That's how I treat black people. They're the same thing. But regardless, yeah, these Dagestanis, they're going to go in widely successful, obviously. Kings of inbreeding. Number 1 base for inbreeding in MMA. Ultimate, they've mastered the technique. They're not too inbred to where they're just mentally incompetent, and they're not pure enough. They're not different enough or diverse enough to where, the fighting genes start to dissipate from the family. So They've done it really well. Good stuff, Dagestanis. They've mastered the art. And yeah, they're proving the results. Makachev, Khabib, Umar, Ankalaev, Zabit, all these guys. They're all there. Hamzat, Chechen, same shit. I don't care. But let's move on to another group. I'm gonna chuck the Nordic people in Not Enough Top Fighters. It's basically Hermansson and like Gustafsson before he dipped and became washed. Anton Tricali, the pleasure man. Anyone else? I'm thinking like Gunnar Nelson. I'm pretty sure we're looking at. Like Markwanimi Kani, I think's from like Finland. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's mostly Jack Hermansson right now. I guess if you want to be techie with it and say, oh, Hamzat started his career in Sweden, or so like trained his UFC start of his career in Sweden, sure, but realistically, he's not Swedish. Look at him. So yeah, let's move on to another group. I'm gonna just chuck New Zealand in top fighters real quick, but the next group we have is the Central Asians, or the cavemens of the world, I guess. You know, we're talking about Shavkat, we're talking about Mytebek or Ulbai, these Kazakhstanis, Kyrgyzstanis, Turkmenistan, there's not even any people from Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, all these kind of stans. The stans, that's who we're talking about. And yeah, Mytebek or Ulbai, Shavkat, they're the top two. Obviously, Shavkat's number one. But yeah, apart from that, they got a few other guys. But obviously, I'm going to chuck them in Not Enough Top Fighters, because they do have, obviously, the GOAT, Mytebek or Ulbai, the Ice Age Maxer himself, you know, the prehistoric Maxer himself, and they've got Shavkat. But apart from that, they're lacking. Let's move on to another group. I'm going to just combine the rest of Europe into one. So I'm talking Czechia with Yuri Prohaska. I'm talking about Slovakia with like Rakic, or is he not Slovakia, or Serbia or whatever. Vittori, Italian. I'm talking about these guys. I think Rakic is like Austrian as well or whatever. So yeah, you know what I mean. Obviously, Poland gets their own group. France gets their own group. England gets their own group. But I'm chucking all these other guys together. You can just call them the bums of World War II, pretty much. Obviously, Italy had some parts to play, but yeah, these are just the irrelevant fucking, just the, you know, what was it? The fucking wall of like communism or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. I'm tired. Leave me alone. But I'm just gaslighting you guys right now into like acting like you're criticizing me, even though you're probably just laughing at me. But yeah, regardless, all these guys, chucking them all together. Go Not Enough Top Fighters. If you put them all together, I guess they do have a few ones here and there. Like you got Vittori, you've got Rakic, you've got Yuri. But apart from that, I don't know. They're just not, they don't got a whole lot going on. Let's move on to the next group. And we are looking at the White Russians, or I guess the Moscow or the Siberian Russians. We're no Cliff Dwellers here. We're looking at, you know, the true Vladimir Putin enjoyers of the world. The true Kremlin enjoyers of the world. So yeah, we're looking at Volkov, we're looking at Pavlovich, we're looking at Pyotr Yan. I guess he's not a UFC fighter, but in the past, Fedor. These kind of guys is who we're looking at. And yeah, I'm going to put them in widely successful, mostly because, you know, Yan, actually, I probably shouldn't even have them here, but it's done now. What's done is done. I can't move them. Because I pre-set up the tiers and then I record over that. So yeah, I can't change it. If you wanted to put them down lower for top fighters, you definitely could. Just, you know, the fact they got Pavlovich, that's all I need to know. But let's move on to the next group. I'm not gonna tell you what type of doctor. We all know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor. We're looking at the Jewish people. I just put this in as a joke because I needed another group for complete failure. Natan Levy, what are you doing? You know, you gotta stand up, rep up, bro. You gotta represent the IDF. You know, you gotta help out your fellow people. You know, you gotta get on the mic, you gotta get your win, and you gotta just talk about freeing hostages for 2 minutes. People are gonna fucking attack me in the comments that can't take a joke. But yeah, Natan Levy and Yanel Ashmuz. And then fucking Ariel Helwani, get in the cage, mate. Your talk show sucks. The MMA hour is in the bin. Fucking get in there, get in the cage and throw some fucking hands and fucking rep Israel, you know. Let's move on to another group before I get fucking death threats, if I haven't already. Well, speak of, now we're going back to the blacks. I'm saying this in the most fucked up way. But now, yes, I am looking at the the overseas transfers, I guess you could say, the ship packages, you could call them. I'm looking at the 1700s, 1800s. I'm looking at the victims of course, the transatlantic trade. Yeah, that's who I'm looking at here, and obviously represented by the GOAT of the sport and the GOAT of domestic abuse, Jonathan Jones, as you can see in the picture that I've got here. That's basically what you can expect from his kind of groups. I'm just going full unhinged here. I don't even care. I'm not, again, these are all jokes for legal purposes. I don't mean any of this. This is funny. I'm just having a goof, having a laugh. But yes, with that all being said, Jamal Hill, you fucking fat bitch, stop eating fried chicken. John Jones, I get it, you're black, doesn't mean you have to beat your wife. And also doesn't mean you have to just commit hit and runs and, random acts of violence. And yeah, now that I've basically got 50% of the comment section to call me a racist, let's move on, if we don't have anything else to say. And just in terms of the fighters, all seriousness, Jones, Blades, Jamal Hill, what's his name? Fucking, I don't know, someone. I'm thinking, let me think. I don't know. Jalen Turner, these kind of guys, all the Drew Dober victims of the world. That's who we're looking at here. Obviously Bobby Green, Terrence McKinney. We're looking at the people that Drew Dober has just absolutely sent roughshod through and just been on a warpath. But yeah, let's move on to the final group in the S tier. I'm gonna just leave this here. Yep. Just take a look at this lovely image. Pure Aryan race. I can't, man. The Drew Dobers of the world, of course, are those that are endorsed and those that are loved by a German/Austrian chancellor, or a German chancellor of Austrian descent with a very nice moustache that lived around the time of World War II. These people are those that are favoured by that man. These people are those that, of course, it's just optimal looks, optimal fighting, optimal everything, let's be honest. Of course, if you can't take a joke, I am joking, I don't mean this, don't take it too seriously. Don't go in here and be like, oh, you're ugly, I looked at your video, you look hideous. Like, I'm not that bad. I'm at least a 6 or a 5. Like, come on, don't be coming at me too hard. But yes, no, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, I'm not saying that we're all perfect, but yeah, these are jokes, and obviously for the purpose of the ultimate, like, this is what someone needed to do. If someone's going to make this tier list, logic's gone out the window. I'm not even looking at who's got the most champions right now, of course, like, for white Americans, I guess, or white people as a whole, like the Euro whites, I guess. Right now we don't have heaps of champs, but, we invented the sport pretty much. Like, Dana, Ultimate Chad, literally fucking created the sport, like created the organization, I guess could say. So yeah, sport wouldn't exist, and there wouldn't be any opportunity for all these other cultures or groups of people to join and to be even on this tier list. Otherwise, if we kept it to ourselves, it would just be white people fighting in fucking backyards. But regardless, that'll do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm just gonna chuck up some changes on the screen just to fix up the order, I guess. So furthest to the left is the number 1, and then I guess further along is the less bad, I guess. I don't know, figure that out yourself. If you guys have any corrections or if you guys have any ideas you would make, let me know in the comments, in terms of where you would put everyone. If you think I left anyone out, let me know. I probably did, but I don't care. They're irrelevant. And yeah, that'll do it. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've needed to, just say some outrageous stuff and get myself cancelled and get a bunch of people hating me in the comments. So we're back to the roots. We're back to the good old days, as Dober would say, before, his neighborhood was invaded. But yeah, that'll do it, guys. Peace out. See ya.